The largest passenger plane ever built had vanished, seemingly for good. But with $20 billion on the line, one airline is determined to bring it back, better than ever. This is the untold story of Emirates' A380neo dream. In February 2019, the aviation world witnessed the official end of an era. Airbus announced that it was ending the A380 Super Jumbo program, once launched with high hopes and backed by billions of euros in investment. The production line would be shut down, orders capped, and the king of the skies, with its massive fuselage, would be retired. But the A380 was never just an aircraft. It was an engineering marvel and a bold statement. With its double-deck design, nearly 80-meter wingspan, and capacity to carry up to 853 passengers, it stood as one of the most ambitious projects not only in Airbus's history, but in the entire history of aviation. Unfortunately, the timing was off, and the world no longer wanted to support a plane of this magnitude. Airlines had begun shifting toward more flexible, smaller, and fuel-efficient twin-engine aircraft. Models like the Airbus A350 and Boeing 787 were both economical and adaptable across a range of routes. The A380, however, demanded massive infrastructure, specialized jet bridges, wider taxiways, complex maintenance, and high operating costs. It simply couldn't fit in everywhere. As a result, many airlines started viewing the A380 not as a luxury but as a burden. Singapore Airlines, Air France, Thai Airways, Lufthansa. One by one, they retired their A380 fleets. Some aircraft were dismantled for parts, while others were left to quietly deteriorate on remote aprons. But there was one airline that didn't accept this fate, and perhaps the only one capable of changing the A380's future: Emirates. Based in Dubai, Emirates was the A380's largest customer, both in numbers and in strategic commitments. With 123 orders placed throughout the program, Emirates had made the aircraft an essential part of its identity. First-class suites, onboard bars, even showers in the sky. Imagine flying at 40,000 feet and being able to take a shower. It wasn't just cool, it was groundbreaking. Emirates didn't see the A380 as just a plane. They saw it as a platform for brand differentiation, a flying experience that no competitor could replicate. So when Airbus said, "It's over," Emirates thought otherwise. To them, the A380 wasn't just a giant airframe, it was a bold vision. And that vision was far too powerful to be limited by conventional market logic. In 2021, when Airbus delivered the final A380 to Emirates, many assumed it was the end of the story. But for Emirates, it was the start of a new chapter. While other carriers rushed to phase out their A380s, Emirates began modernizing theirs. With redesigned interiors, upgraded cabins, and investments in A380-specific maintenance infrastructure, Emirates was giving the Super Jumbo a second life. So why does Emirates remain so committed to an aircraft that the rest of the industry has left behind? The answer isn't just nostalgia. It's the story of a man with a vision. The aviation industry is unforgiving. It's defined by high risk, razor-thin margins, political pressures, and unpredictable market shifts. In this environment, bold decisions often come at a steep price. But some leaders don't see risk as something to fear. They see it as a chance to lead. Sir Tim Clark is one of those rare individuals. As the president of Emirates, Clark is more than just a corporate executive. He's widely regarded as one of the most influential visionaries in modern aviation. He may have started his career designing reservation systems, but what truly defines him is his ability to see the big picture and to play the game beyond its rules. From the beginning, Clark has been the A380's most vocal champion. To him, the A380 wasn't just a means of moving people from one place to another. It was the embodiment of Emirates' identity, its brand, its ambition, and its vision to become a global leader in aviation. When Airbus ended production of the A380, most people assumed Tim Clark would accept the decision. But he was already preparing for something else, the A380neo. Short for New Engine Option, this would be a next-generation version of the aircraft, featuring updated engines and a redesigned structure. When Clark first introduced the idea, the industry was caught off guard. Even Airbus had lost faith in the aircraft's future. But Clark's message was direct. There's still a design sitting on Airbus's desk. A new A380 based on that design would be 25% cheaper to operate, more efficient, lighter, quieter. This wasn't nostalgia talking, it was a strategic challenge. Clark's vision for the A380neo goes far beyond just new engines. He believed the aircraft needs a complete redesign, a smaller vertical stabilizer to reduce drag, newly engineered wings for better aerodynamics, widespread use of carbon composites to lighten the fuselage, foldable wingtips to enhance airport compatibility, and of course, next-generation power plants like the Rolls-Royce UltraFan. According to Clark, with these upgrades, the A380 wouldn't just make a comeback, it could stand toe-to-toe with modern twin-engine widebodies in terms of fuel efficiency. But perhaps the most powerful part of Clark's vision is captured in a single sentence. When Airbus executives estimated the cost of reviving the A380 program at $20 billion, Clark replied, "Build it, we'll buy it." It wasn't just a sales pitch, it was a declaration of intent. Very few airlines in the world could even consider backing a $20 billion aircraft development program. Emirates is one of them. So why is Clark so persistent? Why is he so committed to such a risky endeavor? The answer goes beyond technology or economics. It's about strategic positioning. As a Dubai-based carrier, Emirates acts as a global bridge between East and West. That role gives the airline a unique advantage. It can actually fill high-capacity aircraft like the A380 profitably. And within this strategy, the A380 isn't just relevant, it's central. Clark firmly believes that a platform like the A380, offering vast capacity and a premium passenger experience, will continue to define Emirates' future. But for that to work, the aircraft must evolve with the times. That's why the A380neo, in his eyes, isn't just a project. It's an investment in Emirates' next 20 years. While many in the industry have distanced themselves from Clark's vision, history suggests that bold bets sometimes pay off. Remember, Boeing nearly went bankrupt developing the 747. Everyone doubted the idea until it became aviation's most iconic jet. And Airbus? It gambled big with the original A380. For a time, that gamble defined an era. Now, with new technology and a renewed purpose, Clark believes that gamble is worth taking again. In aviation history, some airplanes are more than just machines. They symbolize expectations, hopes, and sometimes entire eras. The Airbus A380 was one of those aircraft. When it first debuted, the A380 was envisioned as the future of flight. A two-deck design, a wingspan nearing 80 meters, and seating for over 800 passengers. It was supposed to revolutionize long-haul air travel in the 21st century. But things didn't unfold as planned. The A380's massive size presented immense engineering challenges. At full capacity, it had a maximum takeoff weight of 1.2 million pounds, making it the heaviest commercial passenger aircraft ever built. To support that weight, the airframe had to be reinforced far beyond conventional designs. The landing gear had to be larger, stronger, and more complex, adding even more weight. The overall design became a balancing act between structural strength and aerodynamic stability. This excessive weight didn't just complicate construction, it impacted everything. Fuel consumption skyrocketed, engines had to work harder, and the aircraft's overall efficiency suffered. In the end, the very thing that made the A380 iconic, its enormous scale, also became its first major weakness. At the core of the A380 were four massive engines, either the Rolls-Royce Trent 900 or the Engine Alliance GP7000. They were undeniably powerful, but they were also fuel-hungry giants. In the early 2000s, four-engine aircraft were still common. Back then, long-range flights often required extra redundancy due to technical limitations. But that changed quickly. New twin-engine aircraft certified under ETOPS regulations began entering the market. Planes like the Airbus A350 and Boeing 787 could fly the same ultra-long-haul routes, but with just two engines, dramatically reducing fuel and maintenance costs. Suddenly, the A380 was no longer cutting edge. It was falling behind in the one metric airlines care most about: Efficiency. For any airline executive, the equation is simple. Same range, fewer engines, less fuel, lower costs. The A380 was on the losing side of that equation. The A380 didn't just present challenges in the air, it created major problems on the ground. With a wingspan of nearly 80 meters, the aircraft was simply too large for most airports. Accommodating it required massive upgrades, wider taxiways, custom jet bridges designed specifically for the A380, reinforced runways capable of supporting its weight, expanded apron space for parking and maneuvering. In short, it wasn't enough to build the airplane. The airports it served also had to transform, and that transformation came at a steep cost. Many airports either couldn't afford the required infrastructure upgrades or chose to allow only a limited number of A380 operations. As a result, the aircraft's route flexibility was severely restricted. Back in the late 1990s, when the A380 was first conceived, the hub-to-hub model dominated aviation. The idea was simple: fewer flights, bigger planes, more passengers between major international airports. Airbus embraced this vision fully. The A380 was designed to move massive volumes of people between global hubs like Heathrow, JFK, and Changi. But the industry began to shift. Boeing championed a new approach, the point-to-point model. Smaller, more fuel-efficient aircraft flying directly between secondary cities, bypassing busy hubs altogether. It gave passengers what they really wanted: non-stop travel without long layovers. Airlines quickly adapted to this changing demand, and the result? Instead of gigantic jets, airlines wanted agile, twin-engine aircraft with extended range and lower operating costs. The A380 found itself out of sync, a giant built for a world that no longer existed. Here's another critical, yet often overlooked flaw: cargo. Passenger jets don't just make money from seats, they generate significant revenue by transporting cargo in their belly holds. On long-haul routes, this can be a key part of profitability, but the A380 struggled in this area. Its design left limited space for underfloor cargo. The aircraft's massive passenger-focused layout meant the lower deck was optimized for structure, not freight. As a result, the A380 underperformed in cargo capacity compared to other wide-body aircraft like the 777 or A350. That meant lost revenue potential, especially on intercontinental routes where cargo demand is high. In short, the A380 wasn't just inefficient with passengers, it also missed out on one of aviation's most profitable streams, freight. Airbus poured billions of euros into developing the A380, but the market simply didn't respond as expected. At launch, Airbus hoped to sell more than 1,200 units of its flagship aircraft. In reality, just 251 were ever built, the lowest production total for any Airbus wide-body program. For most airlines, the math didn't work. On paper, the A380 often showed up in red ink. While Emirates made the aircraft work for its unique model, the global market never truly embraced the Super Jumbo. By the time Airbus officially ended production in 2019, the A380's days in the sky were already numbered. And for many, it was the most expensive disappointment in the history of commercial aviation. But here's the question: is every failure really the end? Or can it sometimes be the beginning of something new? When the A380 was first engineered, advanced materials like carbon fiber were still in their infancy within commercial aviation. As a result, most of the aircraft structure relied heavily on traditional metals. Fast forward to today, and the picture looks very different. Modern jets such as the Airbus A350 and Boeing 787 now incorporate carbon composite materials in over 50% of their fuselage. These materials are lighter, stronger, and require less maintenance over time. Sir Tim Clark envisions a full structural overhaul for the A380neo. Smaller vertical tail, reduced aerodynamic drag. Redesigned wings, improved lift and overall efficiency. Extensive use of carbon composites, reduced airframe weight. Folding wingtips, greater airport compatibility, and gate access. These upgrades alone could significantly cut fuel consumption and operational costs. But the real game changer lies elsewhere, something far more critical than just structure. The original A380 was powered by the Rolls-Royce Trent 900 and the Engine Alliance GP7000. Both impressive engines in their time, but rooted in 1990s technology. Today, however, the spotlight shines on a new generation, the Rolls-Royce UltraFan. This groundbreaking engine is designed to redefine performance for wide-body aircraft, delivers up to 87,000 pounds of thrust, features a massive 140-inch fan diameter, one of the largest ever built, fully compatible with 100% sustainable aviation fuel (SAF, incorporates a variable pitch fan system for maximum efficiency across all flight phases. According to Rolls-Royce and industry insiders, the UltraFan could boost fuel efficiency by 20 to 25% compared to the engines used on the original A380. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a technological leap forward, one that could fundamentally shift the A380neo's economics and make it viable again in today's cost-sensitive aviation market. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a technological leap forward, one that could fundamentally shift the A380neo's economics and make it viable again in today's cost-sensitive aviation market. One of the A380's greatest strengths is its cabin space, offering over 550 cubic meters, far more than any competing aircraft. This massive volume gives airlines, especially Emirates, the flexibility to create truly premium passenger experiences. Private first-class suites with sliding doors, a fully equipped onboard lounge and bar, in-flight showers for first-class passengers, wider seats and more legroom in every class, a quieter, smoother ride due to the aircraft's size and weight. In the post-pandemic era, travelers are placing more value than ever on personal space, comfort, and privacy. And the A380 delivers exactly that. So ask yourself this: wouldn't you pay more to fly at 40,000 feet in a private suite, sip a drink at a sky bar, or take a shower mid-flight? For many premium travelers, the answer is already yes. The original A380's biggest challenge was its high unit cost. With a $445 million price tag per aircraft, profitability hinged on keeping those seats full. But Emirates figured out the equation. By 2023, the airline had operated over 100 A380 flights per day, served more than 40 destinations across 6 continents, configured many A380s in a 2-class layout carrying up to 615 passengers, achieved low cost per seat mile thanks to high capacity and efficient scheduling. And according to Tim Clark, an upgraded A380neo would bring even stronger economics, 25% reduction in fuel consumption, lower maintenance costs due to advanced materials and systems, greater operational flexibility with modernized features, increased revenue per passenger thanks to premium services. Beyond the aircraft itself, Emirates has built a massive support ecosystem around the A380. Dedicated hangars, specialized pilot training simulators, custom airport infrastructure with unique boarding gates, large inventories of spare parts. All of this investment ensures that Emirates can operate the A380 more efficiently than any other airline on Earth, and gives them a serious head start if the A380neo becomes reality. Modern aviation has trended towards smaller, more frequent flights. But at major global hubs, there's a problem: runway slots are maxed out. Take London Heathrow, New York JFK, or Tokyo Narita. These airports are slot-constrained. Adding more flights simply isn't an option. So how do you grow passenger numbers without adding more takeoffs? You fly bigger planes. This is where the A380neo finds its niche. On ultra-dense long-haul routes, like London to Dubai or Tokyo to Los Angeles, the A380neo could deliver more passengers per flight at lower cost and lower emissions per seat. In this context, bigger may actually be better. Today, Airbus has fully shut down A380 production. The assembly lines are gone, and the teams that built it have been disbanded. To restart the program would require recertifying every production process, redirecting engineering and R&D teams, rebuilding a global supply chain from scratch. It's a massive undertaking, but Tim Clark isn't backing down. His words still echo through the industry: if you build it, we'll buy it. And history shows that bold declarations like this have changed aviation forever. Think of the Wright brothers. Think of Boeing's audacious bet on the 747. Even the original A380 was once considered an impossible dream. until it flew. So now the question is, should Airbus take the risk and bring back the A380 using a new generation of technologies, or should the Super Jumbo fade quietly into the clouds of history? We want to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into aviation, subscribe to Plane Decoded for more stories that go beyond the surface. See you at 40,000 feet.